Welcome back. It's Tuesday, January 31st in the NBA. My three favorite picks are on the way. Let's recap yesterday. So close to a fourth straight sweep, but a 2-in-1 day will do the trick. De'Aaron Fox gets it done, so does Draymond Green. We missed the Chris Paul double-double by 1 assist, and Torrey Craig blew a layup, which would have been his 10th assist. Either way, an 11-1 run over the last 4 days will do the trick. Day 6 of our ladder challenge was a failure. Harrison Barnes was trending on Twitter for all the wrong reasons. Don't send him a ton of hate. He doesn't deserve that. He just absolutely stunk it up yesterday. But either way, the ladder challenge was a lot of fun, so it's coming back. Day 1 will start again today. You'll see that on the channel in a little bit. So we appreciate you for coming out to this video. Thanks for spending some time with us on this Tuesday. If you want to go down below, make sure you don't miss out on the daily videos. Go hit that subscribe button, drop a like too. Yesterday's video got an insane amount of views. I appreciate all you guys' support. Now let's talk about the sponsor of the video, Underdog Fantasy. It's a great place to bet your player prop parlays. They have tons of different options, whether it's points, rebounds, PRAs, points plus rebounds, ton of different options for a ton of different players on every NBA slate. And the best part about them is if you sign up using our code COS or the link down below, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Just like all of our other signups, you get a lot of that deposit match. Take advantage of it. It's free money. You deposit $20, now you got 40. You can throw that on something crazy. You deposit 50, now you got 100. You deposit 100, now you get 200. Take advantage of it. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy using code COS or the link down below. And I'll also have my Underdog Fantasy parlay entry later on in this video. Let's get into our 3 plays. Let's have another profitable day. Let's try to go 3-0. We'll start with this guy who's been clanking it up recently. Mr. Brandon Ingram, over 19.5 points, minus 115 on FanDuel. I think I'd play this at 20.5. If you're looking for value, go for like 25 or 30 because Brandon Ingram is due. Now, Ingram has returned from injury. He missed a ton of games with his toe injury and returned a couple games ago. And since then, he's scored 13 and 22 points in those 2 games. So hitting the over in one, going under in the other. Now, Ingram is going to be on a minutes limit today, probably around 30 minutes. Maybe they up it a little bit. But that doesn't mean he's on the shots limit. And I want to make a note of that because in the 2 games since Ingram has played, he's only played like 29 minutes. The man has shot 4 for 18 and 8 for 22. So he's going out there and firing up shots, which is all you can ask for a guy as talented as Brandon Ingram that he's shooting the ball. And look, 22% and 36% in those 2 games. He's due to make some shots eventually, right? I mean, he's going to knock off a little bit of this rust, and hopefully that ends and he starts to look like the Brandon Ingram the all-star Brandon Ingram we've seen. And I think he can do that today. Now, Ingram, 1 for 11 from the 3-point line in his last 2 games. Maybe he knocks down some of those, or maybe he just stops shooting them because he gets rid of that. He'll be able to shoot more efficiently, but he's still a guy that can score at all 3 levels. The 3-point line, although not recently, at the rim, mid-range, at the free throw line. This is what he can do, and so that was 4 levels. But either way, this is a guy that has attempted 5 free throws in both games since the return. Played well against Denver, scoring 23 and 38 in his last 2 games against them, but in Denver, in the city of Denver, he's played really well, scoring 31, 30, 27, 23, and 38 points in his last 5 there. Obviously, Zion's out. CJ McCollum's there, but outside of those 2 guys, really, it's just going to be Ingram that's going to be out there. He's going to be shooting when he's in the game. He's going to be asked to be aggressive and attack the hoop. And while, Aaron Gordon's a decent defender, I think they can get him off of him. And I think we could see maybe Brandon Ingram getting a full head of steam going into the paint. And honestly, Nikola Vucevic is a good paint protector, not a great rim protector. Won't be able to stop Mr. Brandon Ingram from scoring. So we'll ride with him. 20 points is not that crazy for a guy as talented as Brandon Ingram. And on the off chance, they just say, you know what, we'll up his minutes maybe 3 or 4. We'll have even a better chance of hitting this. But he's out there shooting the ball. I like Brandon Ingram today. He'll take his over 19.5 points, minus 115 on FanDuel. Now let's keep it moving to another player. His shirt's probably right behind the camera. It's Mr. Nikola Vucevic. I like his over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists, PRAs at minus 102 on FanDuel. A book had this at 32.5, I think Barstool, but I know 33.5 is where the line will probably end today. If it goes to 34.5, don't mind it there. These lines can be pretty sharp for Vucevic. Just look at his game log and you'll see what I mean. Now he's coming off a pretty good game, and I don't expect him to duplicate this, but 45 PRAs versus Orlando, and hopefully he continues that momentum into today. I mean, Vucevic is a guy I always recommend taking PRAs or points plus rebounds because he can go out there and drop 15 rebounds, and I wouldn't bat an eye because this is a Vucevic big center on this team, and he's capable of doing that. He's had 15 plus rebound games very recently. He's done it in like 3 straight games, but not going into this one, but we've seen him grab a lot of rebounds, and he also can chip in an assist too. He had a triple-double a couple weeks back against the Sixers, and he's certainly capable of that, and he's the one big man that the Bulls are going to play. Andre Drummond kind of been played out of the rotation, so we've seen a guy like Vucevic play 30 or more minutes in 23 of his last 25 games and 35 minutes in 16 of his last 25. So he's out there a lot of minutes, which is all you can ask for a center like Vucevic to pile up the rebounds, and if he can get some tip-ins, maybe he starts knocking down his jump shots, he should easily be able be able to get this done. Now, this is the final day of January. Hopefully we can end with a bang, and hopefully Vucevic can end with a bang too, because he's played really well in January, averaging 20.1 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 4.5 assists per game. That's 37.6 PRAs. All we need is 34 today, and he's over this line in 10 of 13 games played this month. Let's make that 11 of 14. Now, you look at the Clippers in this matchup, pretty decent one. Last 30 games, Clippers allowed the second most points per game to centers. I believe they're also allowed the 8th most assists per game. The rebounds haven't been really there for centers against the Clippers, but I look at this matchup for him. He's going to guard Zubac or he's going to guard Moses Brown. Two guys that do literally nothing really on offense that is outside of the paint. So Vooch is just going to be chilling in the paint, maybe trying to contest some shots, but also just piling up the rebounds. And while he hasn't played, Zubac and the Clippers all too often, he's played well in their one game against them when he was a member of the Bulls, at 22 points, 14 rebounds, and 1 assist for 37 PRA. So that's a pretty good track record. And this over-under is 230. We know he's not guarding Paul George. We know he's not guarding Kawhi Leonard. He'll just be sitting around in the paint. I think he can grab us maybe 10, at least 10 rebounds, maybe get us 15 or maybe something crazy like that. But I also think he can go out there and score 20 points, get 12 rebounds, 2 assists. Boom, that's 34 PRAs. We call it a day. Vooch is definitely capable, plays enough minutes. I think he gets that done. So we'll take his over 33.5 PRAs. Now, my next play will be a same game parlay. We're throwing a unit on. I do have 2 leans in a second in that underdog parlay. Let's talk about this parlay, and it's very similar to the one we've been running with Giannis and Drew Holiday, but that odds is like juice to the moon. So we'll go with 2 New York Knicks of my favorite team. It's going to be Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. 3 legs. I'll ride with this. Mr. Julius Randle, we need 20 points and 10 rebounds from you. And RJ Barrett, we need 15 points. It's minus 122 on FanDuel. You honestly might get better value on DraftKings, but DraftKings removed the RJ Barrett lines on me right as I was trying to look at it. So you might get better odds on DraftKings. You can shop around there, but I know for a fact on FanDuel it's minus 122. Now let's talk about each of these these two guys as they're at home taking on the Lakers on TNT. And I know Julius Randle, when he sees, I'm on TNT tonight, he's going to show up and he plays pretty well. Now Randle has played well pretty recently all year long, averaging, or I don't know what he's averaging, probably like 25 points per game, but either way, scored 20 plus points in 20 of his last 25. It's been very consistent. Did go under last game with 19 points. I think he bounces back here, and he's at 10 plus rebounds in 21 of his last 25. A couple of his recent games he's ended with 9, but I really like his track record against the Lakers, and I like his matchup to grab those rebounds. Now, you look at Randle, obviously he's a former Laker. That's who drafted him. He's played pretty well against them in his last 4 against them, scoring 34, 31, 20, and 32. So hitting the over 20 plus points in all 4 of those, while also chipping in 10, 8, 16, and 16 rebounds. So hitting the rebounds in 3 of those 4, finished with 8 in 1 of them, but I think he's certainly capable of going out there and grabbing 10 boards. He's going to play enough minutes. I mean, this is a guy in Randle, rarely comes off the court. Going to probably see upwards of 36, maybe 38, maybe 40 minutes if he's cooking. And he's going to avoid guarding Anthony Davis, who's probably back today. LeBron James probably back. And while they might put him on LeBron James sometimes, I don't see him as the primary defender on LeBron. They'll probably put Quentin Grimes or RJ Barrett and then rotate, maybe throw some double teams at LeBron, make some other guys knock down some shots like Pat Bev. At the end of the day, I also think Randle can get those 20 and 10 regardless of who he's defending. Now, as for RJ Barrett, I know he made us sweat that one day when we needed him for 15 points, and he hit it in overtime. He's built different. Harrison Barnes is not. RJ is. And at the end of the day, that was basically the perfect recipe for Barrett to not score 15. 1, he was shooting terribly, like 6 for 18. 2, RJ Barrett, or Julius Randle and Brunson were both cooking. Those 2 recipes, those 3 guys doing exactly those things is how you go under, but he still managed to get it done, and he scored 15 plus points in 23 of his last 25 games that he didn't get injured in. One of the games he played 2 minutes. I'm going to throw that out the gate. And the 2 games he missed, he only played 20 and 27 minutes. Come off a game he really didn't play a lot of minutes. I think Thibodeau throws him in here a lot, and he scored 36 in his last game versus LA. Not going to get Pat Bev on him. Probably going to get Dennis Schroeder or someone that he can attack. We saw Jaylen Brown easily attack this defense despite his foul trouble. Went crazy on him. I'm not saying RJ Barrett is Jaylen Brown, but 15 points for a guy that I know is going to shoot 15 or so times tonight, get to the rim, draw some fouls, get to the free throw line. I'll take my chances. So, look, we need 20 points from Randle, 10 rebounds from Randle, and 15 points from Mr. RJ Barrett, minus 122. I'll sprinkle on it. And let's talk about Underdog Fantasy. A reminder, if you sign up using our code COS or the link down below, you get a 100% deposit match. I would appreciate it if you use that. Another way to help support the channel, just like that DraftKings one we talked about yesterday. If you ever want to sign up using those codes, helps support the channel a lot. Now let's talk about the 4 legs. Let's talk about them. Brandon Ingram and Nikola Vucevic are in there somewhere. I'm not going to talk about those guys. But the other 2 leans I did like, Evan Mobley's over in points, higher 13.5, and then Drew Holiday, lower 20.5 points. Now, let's talk about this. $10 on this gets you a $100 payout. You can bet more if you really feel frisky about doing that. Now, look, I look at Mobley. His line, I think, is 14.5 on I believe, on FanDuel. I think 13.5 is a great line for him. If you can get that, I probably wouldn't play him at 14.5 just because his lines can be pretty sharp and he can obviously doesn't shoot a lot of threes. So sometimes he ends on 14 on the dot. But I like his spot here today against against the Miami Heat. It's going to be a low scoring game, but they're going to make life tough on Darius Garland, life tough on Spida, Donovan Mitchell, and Jared Allen probably gets Bam Adebayo. So we look at a guy like Mobley. Maybe he gets the Jimmy Butler, guarding, but Mobley's like 7 foot tall. He can easily go up against Jimmy Butler and score against him. So I think this is a good spot for him. We see Mobley, I think, score 15 and 17 points in his last 2 against this Heat team. So ask him for 14. I think he can get that. And then Jrue Holiday. We talk about the Jrue Holiday roller coaster. Actually hasn't played too well against this Hornets team. I wouldn't be surprised. Jrue Holiday's due a stinker. He's been too consistent. So he's due a stinker, and I think that comes today against the Hornets. I think people might target his overs. It's like 32.5 for his PRAs. No, this is the Jrue Holiday roller coaster we're talking about. This is a big Giannis game. I think Chris Middleton starts to play a little bit more in this one, and I think anyone on their team can go cook this Hornets team, so I don't think Jrue Holiday's needed as much. So I think Jrue Holiday's under 20.5 points. But we'll throw $10 on this. We'll put maybe a little bit more, and we'll ride it out with you guys on Underdog Fantasy. If you sign up, make sure you use code COS or the link down below. I would appreciate it for that 100% deposit match. Now we'll get on out of here. Appreciate you guys. I won't have any leans because I already just talked about them. Won't have any ladder day 6 or day 1 explanations. You'll just see that in a little bit. I'll put it up on the screen. COS All-Stars. I appreciate you guys always for supporting the channel. Workout shout-outs in a later day. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep making some money. Let's have a third. Let's bring out the berm again. I want to see that baby back tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. Peace out.